All right. How are we doing today, you guys? Thank you for coming in. If you guys are just barely coming in, go ahead and be tapping on that screen. It gets the likes going. It gets it out to people. Hello, FB Lake. Good to see ya. Good to see you. I am going to just give me 1 second, you guys. I'm getting things set out on my end, but things are looking good. All right, you guys, I want to start today by talking a little bit. Oh, Twin Mama says, I'm having an issue with our ABA company, meeting with our BCBA this afternoon. Twin Mama, what's going on? What's going on, Twin Mama? I'd love to know. I'd love to know what's going on. I'd love to hear what's happening. While you do that, let me just share a little bit about what we're doing here. My name is Kylan. I'm an autism advocate. I got 2 kids with autism. And then I'm also a board certified behavior analyst. I've been working with people with autism and disabilities for over a decade. And I am the CEO of a company that provides services to people with autism throughout the state of Utah. So I enjoy coming on here. I enjoy talking about autism. I'm not saying I know everything, but I know quite a bit. Have you ever considered world domination? Yeah, my goodness. No. All right. Good morning, Lexi. Good morning. Good morning. How did things go last night, Lexi? Did you hear back from the police? Karina says, my 18-year-old is terrified of crying children and sirens. Any suggestions? Oh, there's a lot that we can do. Yes, a lot that you can do with that. The first thing I want you to be aware of is that that for kids, loud noises can be super loud and scary for any kid, but for kids with autism, you gotta understand that their brain is sensing the entire environment all at once. It's already on high alert, and you add in loud sounds, sometimes that can just kind of push it over to the edge. So just a little bit of understanding there. And it's not something that's just going to go away. It's something that you support through things like headphones and preparing them in advance to be ready for it. Oh, Lexi, they never showed up. Are you okay if I bring you on a little bit later and you can give us an update? I just want to get things going before we have conversation. It usually picks up a little quicker if I don't start off with guests right away. My son is 3. He screams constantly. I can't talk to him or play with him without breaking down. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. I've been there, Destiny. Screaming constantly, you can't talk or play with him without him breaking down. I'd love to hear a little bit more. Tell us more about your son. Is he diagnosed with autism? What is with the screaming? How can I help him cope? Is he diagnosed with autism, Destiny? Peach says, how often do you meet people who think their kids are going to just age out of it? Guys, that's a common thing. That is very common for people to think that their child is going to age out of autism. And I do talk to people. I've talked to people who say that they successfully reversed their child's autism. And that kind of language bothers me because autism is something that needs to be reversed. It's something that needs to be supported. You guys, we are just barely getting in. It takes a few minutes for us to be picking up. But if you will be tapping on the screen and getting it out there, sharing it to people, that will bring it out to more people. The more comments we make as well right now, the better it'll be as well. These first 5 to 10 minutes matter a lot. Yeah, it needs to be supported, not reversed. Yeah, you cannot reverse autism. You cannot cure autism. It is not something that you simply grow out of. It is the way your brain works. However, that doesn't limit your child's potential. Accepting who your child is doesn't mean that you're accepting that they're never going to have the skills that they need. No. We work on those skills. All right, you guys. Thank you. We're getting this live going today. Please tell me why we struggle so much to maintain friendships, but we can have a relationship. Ellie, I feel you. People with autism, sometimes they can struggle to maintain friendships and relationships. And I don't think there's only one reason for that. But one of the things is sometimes people with autism don't know all this. They struggle to feel like they are interacting and communicating in a way that is within social norms. The example I give all the time is autism can feel like you're performing a play everyone else has a script and you're just trying to follow along. Even though you're one of the lead performers, you're following along without the script. And people hear when you mess up, and they hear when you don't say something that you should. And sometimes dating or maintaining friendships can be impacted. Okay. Is it normal for 2 years old to say no words when it is not normal? Well, I don't like the word normal, but it does indicate delay. If there's 0 words at the age of 2. Have you considered autism? Now, that's not the only possible diagnosis, but autism is something that you should be looking at. Hi, Melissa. Good to see you. Remiko says, why do people believe autism is caused by vaccines or medicine when it's genetic? What a good question. And I have a lot of sympathy for people who believe that it's from vaccines because of their own personal experiences. So what they see happen is that typically if your child is going to regress with autism, it usually happens between 12 and 18 months. Do you know what else happens between 12 and 18 months? Vaccinations. And so when you are devastated in that moment and your child is losing their communication, you're looking for anything to blame. And quite often what that ends up being is you blame vaccines, because that happened around the same time, despite the evidence being very clear that vaccines does not make it more likely to reverse. That reverse happens whether or not they are vaccinated. All right, you guys, we are moving things along here. Let's keep having this conversation. My son is 4 and he bites and he eats mud. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Lamb Sherney, I feel ya. The biting thing and the eating mud, you're going to want to look into pica. Are you getting supports? Do you have ABA? Do you have a diagnosis? Linny Lou says, sorry, the pediatrician wanted to. Maybe they think it runs in the family. Oh, sorry. Let's see. Okay. All right, guys. Do I love Taco Bell? I do love Taco Bell. All right, guys, keep on putting these questions in. Let's see if I'll get to as many of these questions as I can. Sometimes I miss some, so you can put it in if I don't answer it. Eternal Flame says, I got diagnosed after my son 5 years ago when they asked how long I have been diagnosed. Okay, so the psychologist was like, yeah, your child has autism. How long ago did you get diagnosed? And you're like, what? Diagnosed with what? Me? Autism? Really? I made a video about this. And I want to be clear, I don't have autism, as far as I know. However, having my son get diagnosed and learning more about how it's genetic, I mean, obviously my mind wanders and questions, do I have autism? Now, I don't believe I meet the criteria for a diagnosis, but one thing that I'm poked fun at of myself in my post, if you go check it out, is I do have some special interests. I do have things that I really enjoy, and sometimes it's odd, and I do hyper focus on something as a special interest. So I was as a kid, loved Pokemon cards, and that's been a special interest as I've grown up. I mean, it's an exciting thing. Recently it was golf. I go golf every day. I would wake up early and practice. I had never golfed before, but wanted to learn. So I had this special interest. I told you Pokemon cards should be added to the diagnostic criteria. Yes, Destiny. And so that post that I made wasn't saying like, if you like Pokemon cards, you have autism. Obviously, it wasn't saying that if you have a child with autism, so do you. It was poking fun at this thought of if you have a child with autism, us parents quite often, it does cause us to reflect back on ourselves and be like, what were we like as a kid? Were we missed? Were we not around when that diagnosis was available, or was the diagnosis not available when we were that age? Let's see. Janie says, is there any relation to autism and not being able to figure out how to paddle? And I missed the rest of that one. Let me try to find it, Janie. Let me try to find the rest of that. Not being able to figure out how to paddle a bike. Oh, like to ride a bike. Okay. That's a good question. There can be developmental delays associated with autism. like motor movements. But those are not required to have the diagnosis of autism. And so it's not a core symptom of autism. However, it is often associated. My son needed physical therapy for a long time just to be able to learn to walk. And he has autism. So anyway, we got a lot of good people on here. It's not 100% genetic. My daughter was diagnosed with autism, and no one in her family has autism. Angelica, so genetic doesn't always mean hereditary. It doesn't mean that one of the parents has it or someone in the family has it. It just means that there was something that happened in the genes that caused the brain to develop this way. Oftentimes, this is a gene mutation that we often see when the parents, one risk factor is when the parents are older. Might not have a parent who has autism, but especially the father, if they have a father that's over the age of 40, that can impact it. It's correlated with higher risk. All right, you guys, we are just 12 minutes into this, and we have 3,000 likes already. That's pretty good, but I think if we all tap on the screen just a little bit more, we can get that up to 10,000 pretty quick. I'll check in and see when we have that. Let me know in the chat when you guys notice it's at 10,000. I want to see. All right, you guys, if you are just barely coming in, I'm curious because let me tell you, TikTok has not been liking me. And I think a lot of creators were seeing this yesterday, but I had 2 posts sitting in with 0 views for like 8 hours. And very frustrating. And then my live kept getting taken down last night. And the live yesterday failed to take off. Usually I get about 200 or more people in here. Even today it's a little bit lower. But I think through our activity and conversation, we can keep it going up. So yeah, a lot of people are saying that it's been funky on their part too. Destiny, thank you for sharing that. But let me give you a little bit of an intro. If you're just coming in, those 135 people, my name is Kylan. I go live every day because I'm an autism advocate. I have 2 children with autism. I have a 3.5-year-old. And I have a 1.5-year-old. And I'm not new to autism, but new to the parents' side. My son was just diagnosed a year ago, but I have been working with people with autism for over a decade. I'm a board-certified behavior analyst doing ABA therapy. Now I am the CEO of a company that provides autism services throughout the state of Utah. And I have found that one of the first things all of us autism parents need is a village. That is the first part of this autism journey is we need a village. And you might need a village at home with a spouse you need to get on board. You might need to build your village by getting more neighbors that can help out and closer friends. But also you might need a village of people online that are going through this. And this is that safe space. This is the place where we are focused on building that village and supporting each other with positivity. So Octavia says the village is the first thing that disappeared. You guys, that is a brutal truth. If you get a child diagnosed, you'll see one of 2 things. You'll see some people that truly love you, and know that they want to help, just circle you about and do all that they can to help. And then you'll also see times and some people that they distance themselves. They don't fully know how to support and help you out. That's a hard thing. Okay, we have a question here. Any tricks to help with stimming? Yes. Okay, here is exactly what you're going to want to do. If your child loves to stim and they're flapping their hands, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go and flap your hands with them. I want you to go and tell your son that you love him with his stims and everything. I want you to go and make sure that he feels comfortable stimming wherever he wants to stim. That's my recommendation for stimming. Okay. Keep these questions going. What do you think? What does it mean to be on the spectrum? What does that mean? It's mild and hard to diagnose. Hey, Jackie, that's a good question. So back in 2013, before that, those who were diagnosed with autism, it was just profound autism. And there was also Asperger's, which was more low support needs for autism. But there was no you had to be profoundly impacted by autism to get diagnosed. Today, the autism spectrum refers to like autism has common features but affects everybody differently. So you might have someone that's nonverbal. Then you also might have someone that can communicate well. You might have someone that can communicate with a AAC device. And so it's a wide spectrum of different support needs. And it's not like you place your kid one place on the spectrum and that's where they sit. Like your kid, they have level 1, level 2, level 3. You don't say, oh, my kid's level 2. Like that's not a thing. It's not how you identify your child, because that's just a snapshot in time and it's not an objective measure, and it can change across time. And so the spectrum is a spectrum because people grow and develop, and their support level that they need changes as kids grow. Let's see. What are some tricks to introducing new foods? Okay, so I definitely recommend, if you have a child who has restricted eating, put in the chat eating if your child struggles eating a variety of foods. Put eat or eating in the chat. I want to hear it. Who has a child who is restricted in what they will eat? Put it in the chat. I want to see. Because I think a lot of people have this challenge and we don't talk about it very much. I talk about it sometimes. Okay, so there is a diagnosis called ARFID, and some of our kids meet that criteria, some don't, but many of our kids do have restricted eating where they physically won't eat, like they cannot eat something that's not one of their safe foods. So what I recommend is, first of all, you need to get into feeding therapy, okay? That's usually done in ABA, speech therapy, or occupational therapy by someone who's trained to support feeding and eating. But some tips that you can make is, the first thing is always make sure your kid has their safe food. We're not going to do this old school parenting of you have to eat what I make or you go to bed hungry, because our kids with autism, they'll go to bed hungry. They will go to bed hungry, and they will need a G-tube because they're not getting enough food in their body. And so absolutely you need to give them their safe foods for sure. Now, how do you help though? How do you make it so that they can eat more than 3 different kinds of food? Well, it's a slow process. And slow it down. At first, success might look like being allowed to have that non-preferred food item on the table. If you're at the point where if anything other than their safe food is within sight, then you start just by having it on the table, and that's a win. And then you slowly progress. You slowly, maybe it's broccoli, and you put it on the table for a week, every mealtime. Not asking him to eat it. Just there. And then, you know what? The next week we're going to work on putting it on his plate, but making it so that it doesn't touch any food and he knows he doesn't have to eat it. It's just there. And then we are going to have him touch the broccoli. That's it. Every day that next week he's going to touch the broccoli. And then the next week what we're going to focus on is having him smell the broccoli. And then the next week, we are going to have him kiss the broccoli. Do you see where I'm going with this? It is a slow process that you are slowly introducing these foods. And I use broccoli, but you might not want to start with a super challenging one if you think that's going to be very hard to get him to eat. You might just want to expand it from, pizza to pasta. And any expansion of food is good. It is success. Take it slow. You're describing exposure therapy. Jen, yep, that's a lot of the technique that they use in feeding therapy. And it's very effective. It just takes a long time. Look, that's why these therapies are important, because there's no quick fixes. It's not like you can take a pill and then your kid's going to start talking. No, growth and skill development is effortful. It is challenging, okay? All right, everybody. We have, if you are looking right here and it says follow, that means you're not yet following me. I do go live every day, at least once. I've been enjoying doing some nighttime streams as well. And so make sure that you're following so that you can see next time that I go live. Also, we are about 20 minutes in. We still have an hour and a half here. And we have 10,000 likes. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, we're 100 away. We're 100 away from 10,000. We're very close. I think, oh, there we go. We hit it. We hit it, you guys. 10,000. All right. Good job, guys. Good job. Okay, Evaristo says, OT here took us 2 years to go from 2 foods to 20 plus now. At first, it was super slow, only 2 to 3 food. Evaristo, the strategy that you used, was it pretty similar to what I described, that slow process of introducing foods that way? Oh my goodness. My brother is finally saying full sentences. That's amazing. Good job. Yeah, over 2 years. Over 2 years, Kath. And when I heard that, actually, I was like, oh my gosh, from 2 to 20 foods in 2 years? That's a ton of new foods for someone with challenging eating. Like that might not be even realistic for some kids. Like it might be 2 to 10, it might be 2 to 5 over 2 years, but the what you got to be doing is just moving in the right direction. Okay. We are doing potty training. I'm not sure how to get him to understand he needs to go in the potty. Okay. Here's what you're going to do, Minty. Here's what you're going to do. Potty training. Here's some potty training tips. The first thing that I want you to do is decide if now is the best time to even start doing it. If your kid's 3, 4, 5, don't feel bad. If your kid is not potty trained, if they're 10 and they're not yet potty trained, do not allow guilt or societal pressure to make you want to potty train your kid. You can learn to toilet train your child. Your child can learn to use the toilet as an adult, and you can still learn new things. There's no rush here. It's all about timing it out for yourself. And I want you to do just a few things. The first thing is write down the plan. Write down the plan. What the plan is going to include, it's going to include a sitting schedule for sitting on the toilet. And you can have ChatGPT help you draft a toilet training plan for your child. Tell it to use a sitting schedule and tell it to use behavioral principles. And it's going to draft a really good plan. There's a lot of ways to do it. You're going to hear 1,000 different strategies. The key is you write it down and you follow it to the T. When we potty train our 3.5-year-old son with autism, I'm taking time off of work to make this happen. We are going to train his ABA clinic. We're going to train his school, and we are all going to be potty training my boy together at the same time and go all in. Part of that too is none of this well, he'll still be in pull-ups, so we don't have to clean up accidents, but we're going to ask him if he wants to go on the potty. That's not going all in. If you're going to toilet train, you go all in. You throw away the diapers today, and you have a protocol for what to do when there's an accident. You also, what you're going to want to do is give your child unlimited access to preferred fluid. Put it in the chat. What is your child's preferred fluid? What is your child's preferred fluid to drink? Is it water? Is it soda? Is it juice? Is it milk? Let me know. What is your child's preferred beverage? Apple juice, milk, water, juice, milk, juice. Yeah. So what you're going to do is, if it's something special like juice or milk, for a few days, you don't care about the added calories. You don't care that it's not healthy for them. What you're going to do is, for a few days, you let them have as much as they can. If it's chocolate milk, you go and you buy yourself 5 gallons of chocolate milk, and you have them get unlimited access to this chocolate milk. Now, why are we going to do this? We're going to do this because we want as many opportunities to pee as possible. And so the whole the idea behind the sitting schedule is they don't have to know to go in the potty. All they have to know is they have to sit here. And the odds are that if you're sitting frequently enough, the odds are eventually they're going to void and pee while they're sitting. And then you reinforce it. And the moment that you are like, oh my gosh, you use the potty, yay, good job, then something starts to click. All right, you guys, let's keep on chatting. I try to get to a lot of the DMs, Missy. Sometimes I miss them. It can be better to just put it here in the chat. If you want a guarantee that I will read a message out loud on my live, I am streaming over on YouTube at the same time, and you are welcome to any of the chats that are set over there. I do read out loud, guaranteed. So, okay, let's continue to look at some of these questions. Most parents give up after 2 to 3 weeks because of recurring accidents. Be prepared for that. Evaristo, yeah, that's true. It does take a long time. Sometimes they catch on very quick. You will see progress quick. That doesn't mean the accidents go away. All right. My son doesn't use the restroom at school at all. He drinks lots of water. Yeah, I have had that happen before with kids I've worked with, where they have some anxiety around the toilet. I wonder if it makes sense to do something like, I don't know, like you go with them. I wonder if they would use the toilet. Has he ever used the toilet is what I would say. If he has never used the toilet, I would go to the school with him and maybe help him use the bathroom a couple times just so he feels comfortable with it. You don't want your kid to be having accidents or holding it in all day. That can cause problems with the bladder and things like that. Okay, did all the moms have infection? Just want to know some simpler things. MS. Okay, so good question. And again, this is judgment-free zone. You guys are allowed to ask these things. So what I will say is that we do know that it is mostly genetic. Autism is mostly genetic. We can say it's about 90% up to 90% genetic. And that is pretty cool. That is pretty good data. And we know that from twin studies. I can get into that at some point. But yeah, the question here is, did all the moms have infection? In other words, did infection for the moms cause autism in all the kids? And it doesn't work like that. Infection in the moms can be one part of the risk factor, but it doesn't replace or remove the need for there to be genetic issues going on. So, all right, you guys, we have some comments over on YouTube. And like I said, I prioritize those YouTube comments over the TikTok comments. Just as we're starting to grow YouTube, be sure that you're subscribing over there. Patient says, hello, my brother tends to elope a lot, and we live around coyote and hog-infested woods. Any tips on how to prevent elopement? Oh my gosh, elopement is terrifying. Put elope in the chat if your child elopes. I want to put elope in the chat if you have a child who elopes. There's a common behavior. For those of you new to the autism world, elopement or elope means running away. And a lot of kids with autism, they'll run away either to escape or to wander. My son, it's more of wandering. He's not running away trying to escape the house, but he will wander. He wanders. And what's scary about that is, man, if you live close to anything like coyotes, hogs, woods, the most dangerous is water. Did you know that kids with autism are up to 160 times more likely to drown than their neurotypical peers? It makes me sick. 160 times more likely to drown. Elopement is part of that, and a draw to water is another part of that. And so that is scary. I feel you. My recommendations, you got to prepare the environment, patient. What you need to do is, and this is for your parents because you're talking about your brother, but what I would do is, if that were my home, we would be having alarms on the doors at a minimum so that I can hear when the alarms go off. with some baby proofing on the door handles or potential locks. You need to prepare the environment to prevent it from being available to happen while you work on the skill of not eloping. You have to keep them safe today. Kat says, I have 5-year-old twins and they elope. Kayla says, I am an ASD parent myself. I would love to have a conversation with you about your experiences. I do a month-long open discussion campaign on TikTok. I would also like to host an open discussion. Oh, very cool, Kayla. Yeah, I'll check it out. DM me and let me know about it. I'll keep my eye out for your DM. Patient says he absolutely loves to swim as well, so it's a big issue for us. Guys, I'm telling you, the water stuff is a big deal. I'm the CEO of a company in Utah. Is there anyone from Utah here? Anyone from Utah here? I'm the CEO of a company in Utah, and we do ABA therapy and services for people with autism. And we actually just purchased a clinic last year that has a swimming pool, an indoor pool, where we can work on water safety skills as part of ABA. We hired the best adaptive swim trainers and everything that we can, and to get the best people, and we train them to be RBTs, and they work on water safety as part of their ABA if their parents would like them to. And so if you are ever in Utah, if you're ever interested in learning more, let me know. That's something that we do and something that I'm passionate about. But that's not the purpose of this live. I am getting off track here, but it's just something I'm proud of, something that I absolutely love. And when I'm not advocating here, I am actually doing the work to make the world a safer place for kids. And so, like, I'm not just here putting on a show. I'm here because I enjoy having these conversations, but I'm also here because when I'm not on this live, I am out. My wife and I are doing everything we can. My wife just prepared. Listen to this. My wife is amazing, and she just set up a private movie theater showing with 250 seats. We got a really great discount, a great price for it. We rented out the entire theater room. And what we are doing is we are saying it is a free autism movie day. And anyone who has a kid with autism, bring you and your family. We can fit up to 250 people in there. Bring your tablets, bring your headphones, get up and stim in the aisle as much as you want, because this is an autism-friendly movie showing that is free for any family with autism. And so we're doing that in Utah as well. Like that's our life, right? Like we are totally just thinking about how do we make the world a better place for kids with autism. And you know, my thought was, well, my kid has never been to the movies, and I can't take him to the movies because people will judge. He won't sit still. I want him to be able to go to the movie. And so let's make an environment where it's expected that people will be loud, that they're going to be getting up and the lights aren't going to be as dark. And, you know, we can watch a show that's a kid's show. And anyway, that's what we're up to. Okay, you guys, we have some more questions over on the YouTube that I'm going to be reading. Okay. Do you think false diagnosis happens? Almost every kid I know at my church has autism. I don't get it. Evu, okay, good question. So not every kid. It currently is about 1 in 31 children are diagnosed with autism. That is a lot, 1 in 31. But it's not every kid. It's like 1 per classroom. You know, if it's a big classroom, sometimes that's 1 per 2 classrooms. And it's not false diagnosis. It's that 13 years ago, they expanded the diagnosis. So even if people have low support needs, they can get a diagnosis of autism, and it helps get them the support that they need to catch up and grow and have the support that they need. Okay. Jennifer says, about the infection, I had an abscessed tooth while pregnant with my twins. Yeah, Jennifer, I don't know all the details of the studies between infections and autism. I do know that there is a connection. I don't know if in those studies they differentiate what kind of infections. I'll need to look a little bit closer, but that's just one of the many risk factors. It is not that you caused autism because of that, or the autism fully happened because of that. That was one risk factor at play in this multifaceted diagnosis. All right, you guys, back over to the TikTok comments. Let's keep going. Oh my gosh, you guys, we just hit 20,000 likes. We're only 30 minutes into this, and we have 21,000 likes now. Thank you for tapping on that screen. I appreciate the roses, the heart me's. You guys are being really kind, really involved, really active today. And I just want to say thank you, because I can tell it's getting it out to more people. I still feel like TikTok is trying to shut us down and moderate our stuff a little bit, but we're fighting back, and thank you guys for being here. Okay. Oh, we have another comment from Jennifer over on YouTube. Again, we are prioritizing comments over on YouTube. Be sure if you're over there to subscribe. Jennifer says, both of the twins were diagnosed with autism. They are both nonverbal, but my girl has progressed way more than my son. Yeah, okay. Okay, here's a good point. Identical twins. If one twin has autism, the other identical twin also has autism up to 90% of the time. They have identical DNA, but it's still not identical that they both have autism. Now, fraternal twins like this, like Jennifer was talking about, that there's a boy and a girl, it would be the same as siblings, which is less than half of how likely it is for the identical twins. And we find that with siblings, if you have one child with autism, the chances that your next child will also have autism are up to 20%. And so that's where we are, about 10 times more likely than if you don't have any kids with autism. All right, you guys. Let's keep on reading some comments, you guys. What other questions do we have? Let's talk about autism. Any big tips outside of SPA to help my 3-year-old start talking? Already in ABA daily. Okay, Shelby, good question. One of the biggest worries that I hear from parents and that I have experienced myself is am I ever going to hear my child's voice? Is my child ever going to say, I love you? Am I ever just going to be able to sit down, me on the chair, him on the couch, and we just have a conversation where I can ask him how his day at school went? I think about that almost every day. While he is around me and he's playing with me and his communication is somewhat limited, I worry sometimes of what it's going to be like. So I appreciate your question about what can I do to help my child communicate. I recommend 4 frontline therapies for kids with autism, and you don't need to overthink it. You don't need to go and try to find all the cures. Just stick to the basics. These 4, sounds like you're doing, is autism, or is applied behavior analysis, ABA, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and mental health therapy once they're communicating well. Bobby's World says love needs no words. I agree. How do you know your child loves you if he can't say it? Put that in the chat. I want to read some of these comments. How do you know that your child loves you without him telling you? Let me tell you one thing that I see with my son is he comes up to me and he puts his forehead right up on my forehead and he aggressively rubs into my head. And it's on his terms. I can't prompt him to do that. I can't say, oh, come give me a hug on my head. But he just does it. And that is how I know. Let's see. Body language. He came to me for safety. That's beautiful. Mine hugged me and gave me kisses. Hugs tight. I am our safe place. No need for words. The hugs and squeezes. Lots of hugs and cuddles. Grabs my face and brings our foreheads together. His small gestures show me he cares more than I'll know. I'm struggling with, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. When he comes to me and loves on me, 21 years old. My kids are very affectionate with me, hugs and laughs. My two-year-old fraternal twin nephews do not answer to their names or respond to directions. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. The forehead, third eye hug thing is my favorite. Destiny, that's my favorite too. I just absolutely love that so much. Or bite me when he's excited. The pressure hugs, nose nudge, holds my face in his palm so close while smiling. Guys, it's okay. It's okay if we don't hear that voice. And I think it makes us really cherish these physical gestures that show love even more. Some things over on the chat. Let me read some of this. Jennifer says she is saying some words. She will use her potty, follow directions. My son will not. Yeah, so even if they are twins and they both have autism, that doesn't mean they're going to have the same support needs. It's fascinating to see. Kayla says, I love that you have data-driven advice. I encourage every parent to do the research and dig deeper daily. You are their biggest advocate. Huge props on that. Thank you, Kayla. I appreciate that. Jennifer said, my son will only use words when he has really big feelings or to sing his favorite songs. What would you suggest for me who has very limited therapy options? It depends on what you're asking for. Are you asking to help increase communication? What therapy options do you have? Where do you live? Curious about that. Zoe says something in a language that I don't know. Shoot, and it doesn't let me just translate, does it? Oh, shoot. Sorry, I can't read that, Zoe. Jennifer says, my son will touch foreheads too. Guys, does your child do the third eye hug? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I have a video on it, but it's where, they come up and rub their head on your head. Put yes in the chat if your child does that to you. Not all kids with autism do it, but I've seen it enough to where I know it's a thing. I know this is a trend. And a lot of people don't know that it's a trend, or not a trend. It's a common thing that kids with autism sometimes do. And for my son, it is probably 5 or 6 times a day that he comes up to me and does that. Just out of nowhere. It reminds me of a cat that comes up and like rubs his head into you, It's a beautiful thing. And I saw someone one time call it the third eye hug. I thought it was cute. I kind of call it that sometimes. But I like when he does that. Oh, Lenny says, I was going to say he does it to the cat too. Oh, that's funny. Okay, the other day I saw my 2 kids with autism doing that to each other, which was beautiful. Thoughts on video games. We've been doing less, but it's like a punishment for him. Okay, a tired mama, let me talk to you because you're tired and you're a mama. And this is an important topic. So screen time, you guys. How do you limit screen time? What is your daily limit? Let me know in the chat. What's your daily limit for screen time for your kids? And no judgment if you don't have one. Let me tell you what I do because I'll be open about it and I'm going to get the most judgments, okay? We don't have a time set. We don't have a limit. We don't have it set. What we do instead, we take the approach of filling the day. Oh, okay, 2 hours a day. Lexi, I thought I didn't read your first comment, and I just thought you were saying he can have a day. Okay, that makes more sense. So, look, everyone's going to be doing this differently, and we have no business judging each other on this. So there's no judgments. But let me tell you what I do is I fill my kid's day with as many things that are fun for him as possible. So a day might look like he wakes up and he goes to school. He comes home from school, then he goes to ABA, then he comes home and he eats dinner. Then after dinner, we might go outside. Well, where does the screen time fit in there? Well, he has an hour nap And we let him have his iPad in there, and if he falls asleep, great. If he doesn't need a nap every day. And so he gets some screen time. And then, on a day that he doesn't have therapy, he might have, 4 hours of screen time that day if he's on it. And so really we fill up the day, and we don't have to really worry about tracking how many hours is on the iPad. I just worry about, like, the more you fixate on limiting, the more that the child wants it, and the more like they feel like they're in a state of deprivation. And so instead of making them feel like they're in that state, just fill their time with things that are more fun or potentially as fun. Nin says, having a rough day. Will we ever feel like we are doing enough? Nin. Guys, Nin, Ninn, is having a rough day. Can you guys show Nin why we're a village? She's having a rough day. Nin, we're here for you. I have a rough day about every other day, and I'm very open about it. You look at my page, and you'll see a few days where I have breakdowns. I'm never doing enough, and yet there's no time to do more. And it's really hard. We're here for you. Remember that these hard times come in seasons, and there could be seasons where you don't have much support, and seasons where you're not sleeping. And in those seasons where you don't have support, it feels like it's your new normal, that it's going to be forever. And I want you to know that that's not true. There's going to be a season where things are better. There's going to be a season where people are there for you to support you, and your child doesn't have as many support needs. Those seasons are coming, and let that optimism of those incoming seasons give you comfort during these hard times. Nin, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you're having a hard time. But we're here for you. We are here for you. And please join our Facebook group and join our Discord chat. They're linked in my bio. They're active groups. You can request to join at any time. And it's a good place we're here for each other. We're here for each other. Had to cry it out, gather myself, and keep on trucking. Nin, that was me. To be honest with you guys, that was me this morning. I'm going to be vulnerable with you guys. I woke up with a panic attack this morning. I woke up and my mind immediately went to the challenges. It was way before my alarm. This was very early. And I had a panic attack this morning. I was worried about my kids, worried about their supports that they need, worried about work, worried about everything that has to go on all at the same time. And, I have some things that can help me get through it that I was able to do. And, but it's okay. And it's okay for us to talk about and acknowledge that that's going to happen. Nin, I share this not to tell you like, hey, look, I'm struggling too. What I'm trying to do is normalize this a bit and let you know that like you're not alone, and we feel what you're going through. Yeah. Let me go on over to the YouTube, you guys. I've made a promise that every comment that gets put on YouTube, I will read today. Unless it starts going way, way too crazy. But right now it's been manageable. So if you have a comment that you want guaranteed that I'm going to read, please go on over there and I'll read your comment out loud. Okay. Jennifer says, small town in Kentucky. There's one child-focused speech therapist and the other is adult-focused. We are in the adult-focused because the kid one is constantly full. Oh yeah, you're stuck a little bit. You are stuck a little bit. There's no ABA providers. What about ABA providers? Applied behavior analysis, Jennifer. Are there ABA providers in that area? Zoe says, I hear you know something about autism because you have a son with autism. as someone with autism, can I help explain a few things? Zoe, so I'd love for you to just put in the comments, and I'm happy to read it a little bit. Oh, that's what you had said before. Okay. And Jennifer, no ABA there. Yeah, so a little bit about my background, if you're wondering about who I am. There's a guy on your phone talking about autism. I'm an autism advocate. I got a couple kids with autism. I'm also a board-certified behavior analyst. I have a master's degree in autism studies. I've worked with people with autism for over a decade, and I am the CEO of a company in Utah that tries to do the best services for people with autism that we can that's out there. So that's who I am. I come on these lives every day for about 2 hours. And so if it still says request up there, or if it still says follow up there, that means you are not yet following and you're going to miss my daily lives. So please go ahead and do that. Do I wear wigs? Ooh, no. Should I? Do I need to? I think my hairline's still looking okay. Working on it, though. Working on it. We're hoping. What's the company called? Nova Supports. Nova. You'll see me with Nova shirts all the time because I do CEO stuff, and then I hop on here, and then I hop right back off and go do CEO stuff. So, Minty, your hair is just fine. Thank you. I do need a haircut. I'm not very good at doing my hair, so it's going to... Oh, Melanie, you're a dapper dad. Your hair looks great. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Where did you get the name Nova? Well, I got the name because, first of all, outer space is freaking awesome. And I wanted an excuse to make all my clinics outer space themed. And all of our meetings we have as a company are space themed meetings. And all of our designs and everything are space themed. And actually, Space to Thrive my wife came up with that as kind of a tagline for Nova. And I just kind of fully embraced it and took it as my own personal identity on the TikTok, Space to Thrive. But also Nova is, a bright star. And I really think it's important that we look at the beauty of the bright stars of the people that are around us. A lot of those people have autism. So yeah, I know, Destiny. I was like, oh yeah, there we go. There you go. You're catching on to the Space to Thrive theme. Yeah. So I like space, and I know a lot of kids with autism like space, and so yeah, that's the what we did. When does regression start? You guys, regression is so hard. I'm just curious how many of you have had a child who regressed? Put regress in the chat if your child regressed, because some kids don't. My first child with autism, he was always delayed. He was delayed from birth. There was no regression that we saw. It was just always delayed. And then regression happened with my daughter at about 14 months. Typically you see regression happen. It can happen anytime, okay? To be honest, it can happen anytime because development is not linear. Your brain can go up and down. Ben, regression just means going backwards in development. So sometimes kids learn to talk and then they regress and they can't talk anymore. And so my daughter started regressing at about 14 months. She stopped responding to her name, stopped, pointing and saying some of the words she was saying. And we, at about 14 months. So, and those regressions, they happen whether someone's vaccinated or not equally. This is not a vaccine thing. It's not a toxin thing. It's not your body catching autism. Those kids who regressed, they always had autism, and they just development isn't always linear, and sometimes it goes backwards. All right, you guys, back over to the YouTube. Again, I said that I will read all comments that come in through YouTube. I might have to filter some if you guys get too crazy with them, but for now, I can read them all. Melissa says, where is Kentucky? I'm just outside. Oh, where in Kentucky? I'm just outside of Lexington. Oh, Jennifer says Kentucky is below Ohio and above Tennessee. That was a funny conversation, Jennifer and Melissa. I appreciated that. That's good. All right, you guys, keep those comments coming. I am curious about this time. We're about halfway through this live. I'm curious who here found me through the For You page today. Did I pop up? I feel like TikTok is punishing me. Put FYP in the chat. Put FYP if I showed up on your For You page. I just want to get an idea for who all showed up here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, quite a few people. Okay. That's not bad. So, yeah. Thank you guys for being here. It means a lot. And I'm not only an autism advocate, but I'm an advocate for autism parents. And I consider myself to be a protector of your time and resources and money. Because I tell you what, the world wants you to think that you're not doing enough. The world wants you to think that there's a cure for your kid, that there's help, that you haven't just paid enough money, you haven't spent enough time. And one of the big purposes of my life is to discount that belief. I need you guys to know that you are enough. Just you being you is enough. Just you taking care of yourself so that you can be regulated to help your child is enough. Just you getting them into therapies where there is an expert who can work with them. You don't have to know everything, just the expert does. That is you being enough. But all these extra things, okay, give yourself some grace. You don't got to be doing them. Keep it simple. Take care of your kid with love. That's all you got to do. Self-care hobbies. Do you only discuss children, or what about adults with autism who are nonverbal? In Utah, we actually have a clinic that is totally focused on teens and adults with disabilities with autism, typically the higher support needs individuals. And absolutely, we talk about it. Most of the people that come into my lives, they have younger children, so that tends to be the questions that we get. But if you have any specific questions about adults who are nonverbal, I actually am pretty well versed in being able to answer some of those. Oh, Jennifer, you found on For You page. Great. Very cool. All right, you guys. It's not vaccines if no one knows what causes autism. Yes, genetics play a factor. So does environmental factors. Yeah. Taken by, genetics accounts for about 80 to 90% of genetics. We know that through the twin studies. And then environmental factors are risk factors that can increase the likelihood of them happening. Some of those are things like infections in the mother during pregnancy, the age of the parents, the pollution, especially from vehicles. Wildfire smoke. There's a lot that we know. Here's the interesting thing, though, is there are no known risk factors, to my knowledge, of any risk factor after the child is born or after the first week or so of their early life. Being born prematurely is a factor that can impact it. But after birth, there are no known risk factors. And so it's pretty clear that it's how the brain developed in utero. All right, you guys. Greetings from an autistic person. Horror Melody, thank you for being here. Okay. Melissa says there are a lot of ABA clinics in Lexington, but 2 hours one way might be too far. Yes, but you can call those ABA clinics, and if they're only 2 hours away, they are most likely going to be able to do in-home for you, ABA. So don't look just in your own city. Look at those other bigger cities around you. Find the ABA centers and say, hey, I'm looking for in-home ABA in my house. So Jennifer, that's a very real possibility for you. Joan says, what is ABA therapy and how do I get it for my 5-year-old granddaughter? Okay, who here has a child in ABA therapy? Put ABA in the chat if you have a child in ABA therapy. So ABA therapy, a little bit about this. Applied behavior analysis is one of the most funded therapies for kids with autism in the United States. It's limited in other countries, but it is available. In the United States, though, it's insurance will cover it, and they can do up to 40 hours per week of therapy with your child. 40 hours per week up to. And the way that they can do that is the clinician has a master's degree. They're like me. They have thousands of hours of experience under their belt that they've been supervised to give. They had to pass a challenging certification exam. But unfortunately, insurance doesn't want to pay for them to work with your child for 40 hours a week. What insurance and ABA has come up with is a model that is a tiered model, that you have a paraprofessional who works underneath the clinician. This paraprofessional has to be 18 years old and be a high school graduate. But other than that, and pass a background check. But other than that, there's not really any other requirements. And so the person working directly with your kid may not be the most experienced, but 10% of their hours is supervised by this clinician. And so it's all up to the behavior analyst to train, to work with your kid, teach them communication and skill development, reduce problem behaviors. Really amazing stuff. So I do recommend that you look into ABA therapy. Check Richmond too. It may be a little closer, and I know they have a couple clinics. Thank you. And Bad, thank you for posting that. If you need a village or have questions, join the Facebook page or Discord. Links are in my bio. Thank you. Would you recommend microdose on alternative medicine? Ben, good question. So here is my thought on a lot of this microdose or detox. Detox is a big trend. Right? The whole premise of detoxing is that autism is a toxin in the brain, that your brain is being clouded by all the toxins in your body, and you need to remove those. Ben, and that is something I can't really talk about on here, else I will get banned. But there is more and more evidence about that stuff being medicinal. I don't know. I know of no studies around autism with that. But the detox stuff, I want to urge caution of, okay? The detox stuff is like taking medicine that strips your body from heavy metals that a lot of times is offered and prescribed or delivered unnecessarily. So avoid those things. I am unique. Can you answer my question? Yes. I don't see it, though. Go ahead and post it again. I'll try to keep my eye out for it. Do you think ABA is more successful at home or in facilities? Oh, my gosh. Okay. Guys, ABA in home or ABA in clinic? Where do you guys get your ABA? Put it in the chat. Home or clinic? Home or clinic? Choose and put it in the chat. I'll tell you my thought. I like both. I really, really like both. Let me tell you why. There's benefits of both. The clinic is amazing because there's typically always a behavior analyst present in the clinic. So that master's level degree person who's supervising, they're always there. And so if your RBT has questions, they're doing really good work. The clinic, they do more targets. They are working with your kid really well. I would say ABA is better in a clinic usually, how well it's being done. However, in home is extremely convenient, but also it allows for the skills to generalize in their normal environment. So if your kid only learns things in a clinic, that doesn't necessarily mean that at home they're going to be applying the things that they learn. And so I really like a hybrid approach where you get hours in home and in clinic so that you can kind of get the best of both worlds. That's my preference. That's why you work at home. Well, Chosen, that's a good question. It depends on the day where I'm working. But since we have like, we're opening up our 4th clinic, and so I travel to all the clinics. But I do work from home quite often. It's where my computer is, and yeah. But my wife is a little bit more flexible with work meetings and stuff, and can get the kids where they need to go. Let's see. Oh, no, I wasn't asking you. I was saying that's why parents work with child at home. Yeah, it's for one, it's for convenience. Like if you have, okay, imagine this. This would be appropriate is I could work from home and ABA could be here for 6 hours, and it's not childcare. ABA is not childcare. You have to be present, but you could be working, and that is a benefit of doing in-home ABA for sure. Whatever my child therapist does, I do at home. Yeah. I have autism. I feel like it only shows sometimes. Is that normal? And why is that? Sage, are you diagnosed with autism? It's one of those things that you have to have an official diagnosis. But also, oh, yes, wonderful. Yeah, it impacts everyone differently, Sage. It impacts everyone differently. I recommend if you are highly verbal and you have some challenges, but you don't see it every single day, I recommend getting in touch with a mental health therapist that knows autism and talk through some of those challenges with them. Nicole says, can I go grocery shopping and leave RBT at home? That's something that you have to ask your ABA provider before you start. So the way my company works in Utah is we kind of have this 5-minute rule that if there was an emergency, could your parent get home within 5 minutes? And so if they go to the grocery store, but they had to come back, could they get back quickly? If they go and pick up the kids from school, could they be back in about 5 minutes? Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. I apologize. Yeah, I enjoy being able to give the parents a little bit more of that flexibility. There are some that are like, no, absolutely not. You cannot leave the home at all. It's a huge liability. And my thought is like, I trust my technicians so much. We put them through so much training and observation. We only hire the best. Like I don't know. Like our behavior technicians, they change diapers. They are alone with kids sometimes, but they're professional and they're amazing. So, yeah, I don't have problems with them being alone for a short amount of time. Okay, other questions. Let's see if we have any on TikTok or on YouTube. Remember, I am prioritizing comments on YouTube. You guarantee get me to read a comment if you put it on the YouTube. The link is in my bio. We know you're doing your best, and we love you even when we can't show or say it. Talk to us about our interests. I personally know I'd love to talk about everything I know, but only if I'm asked. Zoe, thank you. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts as someone with autism. And that does mean a lot. Like, even when you can't show or say that, I'm just picturing my son saying that to me. You know what I mean? I personally know I'd love to talk about everything I know, but only if I'm asked. Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Melissa says, we are on a wait list for ABA, but they recommend in clinic to start, then at home when he gets older. That's fine. That's fine. But if you really want in home, you can definitely request it. Melat says, what about gluten-free and dairy-free diet? Okay, there's a lot of misinformation here about the gluten-free, dairy-free diet stuff. Part of that, okay, there could be reasons. If your doctor recommends it, there's times where you have to do that if you're on specific medications. But in general, for autism, there is no autism diet. Guys, this is big because I think a lot of us parents feel this pressure that there is some sort of magical autism diet that we need to be giving our kids. There is no autism diet. There is no diet that your child needs simply because they have autism. And where some of this comes from is the theory behind the gut-brain axis. What is this theory? This theory is that if your gut, the microbiomes in your gut are very important, which is true. And they can impact what happens in the brain, which is also true. But it does not impact the brain in the sense of addressing any autism symptoms. And it's not unique to autism. That's everybody. Everybody, if your gut feels good, you feel good. Now, most importantly, these diets, when they are researched, these diets or detoxes, what they find is when they do these studies, there are no meaningful outcomes for addressing autism symptoms. Now, the exception to this is if you have a child who has GI issues, if you have a child who has constipation or stomach pain, absolutely diet and supplements or things like that that the doctor recommends will definitely help your child feel better, and feeling better helps you learn. But it's not doing something magical to the brain, if that makes sense. Okay. Adela says opinions on RBT providing services to their own child that has autism. Thank you. Adela, so an RBT is not able to provide autism services to their own child. That is outlined very clearly in the ethics code for behavior analysts and for RBTs, that you would get your license removed if you were doing that. And so don't do that, please. Sarah says, are you a doctor? That is a good question. I am not a doctor. I am an autism advocate. A little bit about me. And I say this often because we get more and more people coming in, and it's just good for me to refresh a little bit. A little bit about me is that I have 2 kids with autism. I have a 3.5-year-old and 1.5-year-old. I am a board certified behavior analyst. So I have a master's degree in autism studies and provide services to people with autism for the past decade. And then on top of that, I am the CEO of a company that does provide autism services throughout the state of Utah. If anyone ever needs help in Utah, even if you don't go with my company, I'm well connected. If you are in Utah, please message me. Let's connect. Let me help you find good services, because I know the good people, and I can find out about your needs and find which place can help you the best. It's probably not going to be my company, depending where you live and things like that. But I just like helping people that I know about the services. Where do you guys live? Let's do this. Put it in the chat. Where are y'all from? Where do you live? What state do you live in? Or if you're not in the U.S., what country do you live in? Wow, Arizona, Alabama, Ohio, Arkansas, California, Philadelphia, California, Indiana, UK, Minnesota, Canada, South Africa. Guys, we have people from all over. Thank you for being in here. Thank you for being in here. Lexi, where are you? Are you in here somewhere? Can you come up and update us on how things are going for you? There you are. How have you been, Lexi?
Hi, Kaylin. I'm doing good.
You're doing good?
Um,
Do you mind updating
yeah,
people on stuff before we chat? Because I think it'd be confusing because a lot of these people weren't on the live last night.
yeah. So last night I was doing my nightly routine with my autistic child, and I was giving him a bath because he still doesn't bathe himself yet. And when I was drying him off, I noticed that he had something on his arm. So I took his arm and I looked at what was on his arm, and it was a pretty significant size bruise. Um, he had been wearing a long sleeve all day because it was cold in the morning, and so I obviously didn't notice it throughout the day because there was no way for me to notice it without taking off his clothes. Um, so last night, after bedtime was done, I realized that, it was a pretty huge deal. I don't touch my children. I don't hit them. I'm completely against any sort of abuse towards children, just my personal thought. So I knew he didn't get it from here. He had been at school. for half of the day, and then he had been at therapy at ABA therapy for the other half of the day. So between those two, I don't know where or what happened to him yesterday. So last night, after I realized how big of a deal it is, because it took me a little time to process, it's a lot to go through. I ended up just calling the police to file a report. The police never came last night. I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't sleep. I mean, I couldn't stop myself from sleeping anymore after one. So after 1 o'clock in the morning, I ended up falling asleep, and then I woke up at 6 on my normal time and got the boys ready for school and just followed my routine. He went to school this morning and he was fine. He was happy. Um, he didn't complain or anything. So, I mean, I think it's okay. But then after I dropped him off at school, I went um, to the police office, my local police office, and I filed his report. Um, I was clocked in for in the state of Arizona, parents can be paid as parent providers, and I'm on that program.
Oh yeah.
So technically I was clocked in, so I had to report it, even if I didn't want to, because I'm technically a mandated reporter.
Yeah.
Um, so I did call the police, and I went to the police station this morning and I spoke to an officer and I explained what had happened, and I showed him the pictures and the videos that I took of my son last night. And they took the report and they said that they were going to call the school and they're going to call the ABA center and they're going to try to get down to what happened.
Have you said anything to the school yet?
I did. I talked to them this morning just to ask them to see if there was maybe a report that I didn't get or something along those lines. They said that he didn't fall or didn't have any incident at school yesterday. Um, and actually earlier I got off the live because the director from the school actually personally called me.
Oh wow.
And so, you know, she explained to me that she talked to the teacher and the staff and nobody saw him fall or hurt himself or anything like that. I also went to the ABA center and I spoke to my BCBA. And the BCBA got in immediate contact with the center director, who was there, but she wasn't available because she was in a meeting fighting for kids because our insurance is trying to take that ABA center off of our insurance. So she was in a meeting with the insurance, so she couldn't come talk to us, but the BCBA interrupted her anyways and informed her of the situation. And so she's investigating with the staff that worked with him yesterday just to see if there was anything that they could find, if anything happened to him or something along those lines. So, I mean, everybody who's involved in his life in regards to like his daily living is aware of the situation, and they are also aware that the police will be getting in contact with them just to investigate and find out what's happening. The only thing is that the police did tell me that because it is involving a minor, they do have to call DCSF for them to do a wellness check, which I don't have a problem with because I know myself and I know the type of parent I am. I don't have anything to fear on that end, but
It's always scary though to
that was
get them involved.
yeah,
And it's
that
like
was what he told me.
I want to report these bruises, but like doing that is like putting a target on my own back. And so I mean, I had the same thought when my daughter took all the Tylenol. I called poison control and they asked for a lot of personal info. And my thought was like, of course I'm going to give them all the info that I need, but are they going to like be sending this over to like child protective services or something? And definitely our minds go there, but as long as we are focused on like what's best for our kid, I mean, it'll all work out, especially if you have nothing to hide. So,
Right. Yes, I don't have nothing to hide, so I told them bring it on. You
yeah.
can have them come anytime.
And they
I
won't
really
think
don't
it's
care. I
you. If
just
you're
want to
the
make
one
sure
who
he's okay.
reported it, they won't think it's you. Now, if they saw it at the school and
Hmm.
you hadn't reported it and they're like, "Hey, your son has bruises all over." They would have to report it, and then it would be like, I don't know. That's a different story, but where you're the one reporting it, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. I don't like I said, I don't have an issue, but the emotional toll that something like this takes on you is really hard because I'm just trying to get through my day as normal as possible. I hate the word normal, but I'm not using it towards my child, so it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but just trying to get through the day as normal as possible. But then I do find myself throughout the day sometimes like falling too far into the thinking of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Adela over on YouTube says, "So sorry, Mama. Stay strong." Jennifer says, "That's another thing I really worry about for my kids. They can't tell me if something happens to them at school, but should I homeschool with having no professional schooling? Always something that you got to think about." Adela says, "Unfortunately, some RBTs don't have patience and get too handsy with the kids, unfortunately." Yeah, we don't know what happened, and it's hard for us where he has multiple locations where he receives care and multiple people at those locations. It's so hard to just say like, oh, it was this person, and we know how it happened. Like we don't, she doesn't, and that's why police are gonna have to investigate it. But shout out to Lexi, you guys. Lexi is amazing, and it takes like she didn't hesitate at all. Maybe she hesitated because she had to catch her breath and think about what was going on, but he came home from school yesterday and she discovered this, and last night she was on the phone with police. Okay? That's what we do for our kids is we say, "You know what? We're if they could potentially be at risk in any way, we're gonna report it. We're gonna do what we can to make sure that they're safe." And you know what those schools are doing right now? Those schools or the school in the ABA center, Lexi, they know police file was reported, and they know that eyes are on how they're treating your son right now, and your son is gonna have the absolute best care that he's ever had. I
Oh
guarantee
yeah,
it.
I believe it because, like I said, the director called me directly. It wasn't his teacher. It wasn't the front office that I spoke to. Um, it was the actual director of the overall center, and she talked to me about it, and I did tell her. I was like, I have to file a police report. I'm a mandated reporter. Um, through two different ways. I have my certificate for developmental associates for early childhood education, so I'm technically a teacher. Um, and on top of that, because of the paid parent as care provider program that I'm in my state, I have to report any signs of abuse. And I didn't do it. I don't know where he got it from, like you said. I don't know if it was at school. I don't know if it was at ABA. I didn't advocate for either one of them. I just
Yeah.
advocated for my child
Yep.
and the fact that he had bruises on his body. And I could see the face because I did talk to the BCBA. I saw her face like I don't we don't I don't know of anything, and I think I don't know if they've ever had anything like this happen before because she went, like I said, to the director of the ABA clinic. Um, and then she came back like a couple minutes later and she was like, okay, so, you know, um, the director sent a message to the entire team that worked with him yesterday. while
Oh.
she was in there, even though she was in a meeting and she wasn't supposed to be doing other things. She sent a message to the entire team that worked with him yesterday asking if anything happened. So she
Good.
said that at 1, when I take my child to ABA, they will have more answers for me. So they're
Okay.
actively working on trying to figure out if there was anything that happened at ABA. So I can tell that they nobody's ever going to touch my child again if it
No.
was somebody
Yeah.
anybody in any of
They
these
got all the
facilities.
eyes on it. And
Yeah.
if there's something to find, the police are going to find it. So, well done.
Right.
Well done, Lexi. You have protected your child. This is what autism parenting looks like, you guys. And it doesn't stop, okay? If your kid can't fully express what happens at school and can't say, if they're injured or if someone hurt them, they are at risk, at higher risk of being hurt at school. I wonder if I could find a study on the how common, I don't know if I can say that word, abuse, is in kids with autism.
No, you can't say that word on TikTok, just to let you know.
What's a word I can say instead of that? Um,
Like harm.
yeah. They are 3 to 4 times more likely to experience harm in that sense than children without disabilities. Some studies estimate that over 30% of children with disabilities experience harm before age 18. 1 in 3 kids.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's scary, you guys. What frustrates me the most is then people come in, and I didn't know that these people existed until one of my posts that I made, but there are so many people that come in after this and say, well, kids with autism are the ones who are dangerous, and we need to like separate them out because they're gonna hurt our kids and make it so they can't learn. And I'm like, oh, come on, like the statistics are pretty clear that they are the victims in these situations. They're not the aggressors. Not that things can't happen, but like they're 3 times more likely to be a victim of this than these other children. So yeah. If you look at seclusion and restraints in school are 90% higher. Yeah. Oh, you guys, keep your eye on your kids. Check their bodies for bruises. Require answers from people, and demand that your child be treated right. Um, Lexi has made it so that, and I can tell she's done it well because she's made it so that her whole team, the school and ABA, are one, all on their toes and wanting to provide the best services for her daughter, and two, super cautious that they're never going to harm her child. And so, yeah, really, really cool. Well done, Lexi. Well done. And yeah, I appreciate you sharing and being open about it. I know it's not a easy thing to talk about, and we absolutely need to keep hearing the updates from you on this.
Yeah, I'll come through and let you know updates like if you go later on tonight or tomorrow. I just want to say to everybody here, thank you so much for all of your support. You guys are all amazing. This is exactly why I joined this group because I feel like I don't have a village. And you guys have really helped me get through this, reading through the comments. Sometimes I don't answer. I know, I'm sorry. But at the same time, I really do appreciate everybody on here. And, you and Amy have been amazing and
Yeah.
walking through this with me outside of this space. So I really appreciate both of you so much. I love all of you and
Yeah.
the whole chat. Thank you so much for everybody
Yeah,
for
we're
being here
we're
for
here
me.
for you. We're here for you, Lexi, and a lot of love your way. You've been a big part of this village. So, um, yeah, we are your village just as much as you're our village. So thank you, Lexi, and yeah, keep us posted for sure. You guys, we have a few more minutes. If people have more questions, feel free to bring them up. We're gonna keep having conversations. Lexi, feel free to hang out or drop down, whatever you prefer. But you're welcome to sit up there and go ahead and be putting in the comments again any thoughts or questions that you have. For those of you just coming in, what we are talking about is autism, and I am an autism advocate. I got two kids with autism, and I work in the autism world. I am the CEO of a company that does autism services in Utah. And so if you live in Utah and if you would like to connect, even if it's not with my company, I know all the players out here. If you say I want in home in this area in Utah, even if that's not something my company does, I know Utah really well. So I'm always willing to have conversations with people looking for services in Utah. We also have I'm a board certified behavior analyst, so I do ABA therapy myself. But we also have, I mean, these days I don't do a whole lot of that with my other roles, but we also, here at Space to Thrive, which is kind of the name of the channel, we have a Facebook group. Please join that Facebook group. If you are not part of the Facebook group, please join it. It is a great place to feel supported, a great place to post pictures, share wins, share struggles. We also have a Discord chat. Please join the Discord chat. If you have one or the other, just join one of them. If you have both, join both. But we love the community, and that's what we're building here. We're just building community. We're building care. We're building a village, and it's just like what Melissa said. Ain't no village like a Space to Thrive village, guys. There's no, I'm not joking around here. Like I talk about the parts of the autism journey. The most important part of the journey is the very first step, which is build your village. And that's what we're doing here. I needed a village. I wasn't well connected with a bunch of autism parents, and I have made friends here. I've made connections. I know that when I speak about a hard day, there's people listening. And when you are speaking about hard days you're having, we are listening to you. So please be a part of this village, you guys. Okay. Let's get to some comments.
Sorry if I took over your chat.
Oh, you're good. I'm just trying to scroll up and see if I missed anything good that I need to address here.
Chosen One said my child's school couldn't locate him. I was so pissed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that'd be scary. You know, I had a similar experience a couple weeks ago that my son wasn't um back from school at 12:30, which is when he usually gets back. So we called the school and they were like, "Well, let me get right back to you." And like 5 minutes later, they're like, "Okay, so I guess there was a misunderstanding and they were like misplaced and they're on their way now." And I'm like, "What does that mean, misplaced?" So I still don't know to this day what happened. He got back 30 minutes late, but it's a stressful minute when you're like, "Where's my kid? Where's my kid? What happened to him?" All right, you guys. Bree says, my son really wants to make friends, but connecting with other kids is hard for him. How can I help? You start, the very first part of playing with friends is parallel play. It doesn't mean that they have to interact with each other. And it's one of the best ways for kids with autism to get started is have people who are interacting and playing with themselves and with their toys, and put your child in that same environment with similar toys and let them play next to each other. That is a great way to start it. Guys, I have a full day today. This has been an amazing live. TikTok, I think it still is a little bit suppressed, but I don't think it was too bad today. I think it was pretty good. We stayed over 100 followers most of the time. Usually we get and stick around 200, but that's okay for a recovery day after the mess that yesterday was. If you guys are not yet following me, if this says follow, you need to hit that right now so that you can see me when I go live again. If you are lucky, you will log in at night and you will see a different side of me, a side where I talk to people who disagree, people who think autism is a disease, people who think that autism is caused by vaccines and a toxin in your body. I address misinformation, and I do so with a love and kind heart. Love? No, with love and with a kind heart. Man, I am struggling. And so make sure you're following so that you can see if I go live again. And you guys, thank you all for being here. What a wonderful village you all are, and have a great day, everybody. All right, we'll see ya.